Welcome back to the pole position. For the last year and a half, I have been running for president. You may ask, how can you run for president if you're just some guy from Edinburgh? If you couldn't tell from my accent, I am clearly not from Edinburgh, Scotland. I am from Edinburgh, Indiana. So ha! The American presidential election is fast approaching, and there's a lot of things going on surrounding it. But how does a presidential election actually work? Why is it so long and drawn out? And how is the winner decided? My campaign started when I founded my own party. The Survey Party represents the interests of pollsters and has gained over 100 million members within the first 5 seconds of its founding. When asked if it's liberal or conservative, my answer is yes. Last year, I announced my intention to run for the party's presidential nomination, with promises to make a government department for polling, ban any news station from calling Florida before any other state, including Alaska, and name everything in the country outside of Minnesota and DC after Ronald Reagan. But I did not run unchallenged. I faced a tough competition from Senator of Senatorville State and Governor of Stateland State. We announced our runs at different times during the summer of 2023 and began our campaigning straight away, doing everything from courting donors to holding rallies to drum up support. But none of this was for the general election. We were all trying to get the nomination and endorsement from our party through a system known as a primary, where party members and independent voters get to choose who they think will be the best candidate for the November ballot. Months are spent duking it out in debates and hustings, even though we were all supposedly on the same team, with the latter half of 2023 being mainly spent trying to unify the party around one candidate. The actual voting starts in the January of the election year, with the first votes being cast in the Iowa caucus. A caucus differs from a primary in that it is only open to party members, and the voting system is far less formal, with methods ranging from voters writing their candidate's name on a scrap of paper and handing it to their county clerk, to the voters themselves being counted by standing in different sections of a room based on who they support. After Iowa, the election generally goes the same way as any other, with normal ballots casted, with states choosing when to hold their votes, meaning there is no set ballot day for this round of voting. New Hampshire is the most interesting, as it actually has a law that requires it to be the first state to hold a primary vote, not including caucuses, and it allows the population of a small town in the north of the state called Dixville Notch to cast its votes at midnight on polling day, despite it being hours before the polls open. It is worth noting that when people vote in a presidential primary, they are technically voting for delegates who pledge to vote for their preferred candidate, like with the Electoral College, with some states having a winner-takes-all system, whilst others use a more proportional method. After the primary races are finished, the parties hold their national conventions, with the delegates attending to cast their ballots for the party's presidential nominee. In this case, I won every single primary in a landslide, and I quickly moved on to the party convention. Only one delegate voted against me, opting instead to vote for a photo of Alf Landon. I then had to pick a running mate, and to avoid party disunity, I picked the very same photo of Alf Landon as my VP. Let's face it, the photo had a better chance of winning than he did. The next challenge was the general election. I faced 2 main contenders, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Both have lots of support and resources, but I have polling. The campaign lasted from August until early November, a stark contrast indeed from the 6 weeks of campaigning we have in the UK for a general election. Generally, this time is spent with the candidates, with events such as rallies and TV debates being used by both sides to convey both the policies of the candidates as well as what they bring personally to the office. During the debates, I promised I would abolish sales tax for Twinkies, build a monument to Grover Cleveland's mustache, and lobby to have homemade wine banned under the Geneva Convention. The debate performance is universally praised, with my heartfelt message resonating with millions of Americans. But debates aren't everything. The true key to victory is voter contact, which is achieved by millions of campaigners, spending time knocking on doors and working at call centres to drive up turnout and enthusiasm. Early voting begins sometime around October, depending on where you live, as the individual states tend to choose when their early ballots become available, with both mail-in ballots and early in-person voting being made available to voters. Polls open properly on the first Tuesday of November, this time November the 5th. On this day, the vast majority of voters will cast their ballot not just for the presidency, but also every other election that is held in their local area, from congressional races to school board elections. The first polls will close at 6 p.m. Eastern Time in the states of Kentucky and Indiana, with the last polls closing 7 hours later on the small chain of the Aleutian Islands in Alaska. Votes will be counted and the results will be declared overnight, with the winner usually being clear by the next day. Candidates must win 270 Electoral College votes, which are divided between states based on the number of people sent to Congress by each state. Most states use a first-past-the-post method and a winner-takes-all system, meaning the candidate who wins the popular vote in a state will receive all of its electoral votes, with only Maine and Nebraska using a different system that I have covered before in this video, so be sure to have a look at it. Once the results are declared, the Electoral College delegates will meet up and cast their votes for the presidency, which is then certified by Congress and the sitting Vice President. The results show a massive victory for the pole position, with all 50 states plus DC going to me by one vote, proving anything is possible with this system. After this, everyone in Congress just looked at each other and nodded in agreement that I should be president. I was sworn in on January 20th, 2025, where I delivered an inaugural address that called for unity and for every American to love polling as much as I do. I then proceed to mess everything up within the first hour of signing executive orders, and I'm impeached 15 minutes later, with photo of Alf Landon now serving as president, proving a photo of him definitely did have a better shot at the presidency. What's really amazing about all this is that not one news outlet even mentioned any of this at all. Not once. Thank you for watching. This is a bit of a different video from normal, but I thought injecting some humour would be a good idea. In all seriousness, I'm not actually running for president, nor can I, but this election is real, and it's an important one. If you live in the US, I'm not going to tell you how to vote or who I would vote for, but I will ask everyone to turn out to vote regardless of who they are or where they live, as it's an important right that shouldn't be taken for granted. My predictions will be coming out in the next few days, so be sure to keep an eye out. As always, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.